just what I'm made of now. Trying to reach inside of me, trying to get my ambition. Let me show you just what I'm made of.
Now, before you guys start questioning me about why I'm reviewing this movie for the Thanksgiving-A-Thon, first of all, Thanksgiving is a time that really does revolve around food. Like, don't even try to dodge around that. And secondly, I legit looked up a list online of Thanksgiving-related animation, and in almost all those lists, this was included. So, don't worry, I have loopholes, and I do have, like, legit proof that people consider this a Thanksgiving movie, so screw it, I'm reviewing it anyway. Not to mention, I've never seen this before. This was literally my first time watch, yeah, I know. As a big Pixar and Disney kid, way back in the 2000s with stuff like Cars, Monsters, Inc., Incredibles, Finding Nemo, this is one I just never got around to watching. It's not that I thought it was bad when I was a kid or anything, it just ended up not happening. And all these years I've been meaning to watch it, but it's not until now I've actually had the time because think about it, I have to keep up with pretty much every movie that releases pretty much every single year. And I started doing this, literally, like last year I started doing this, keeping track of everything. So, I haven't really had time to go back much and do, the older stuff that came out when I was a kid that I missed out on. Like An American Tail, for example. Well, that didn't come out in the 2000s, but you get what I mean. Older animation. But this has been highly praised over the years, because I've seen a lot of Pixar tier lists that have this up there with some of their best. And I can say right now, after I literally just finished watching it, I can see why. This is a great Pixar film. It's not just a great Pixar film, it's a great animated film in general. There's a lot of things I want to talk about with this review. And I promise, I'm not going to go deep into spoiler territory. I don't care if this movie's over a decade old. I still don't want to spoil it too much because I want you guys to see it. Seriously, go out and see it if you have not. And if you have already seen it, well, watch it again. Because like I said, apparently according to the internet, it counts as a Thanksgiving movie. So, yep. So, this movie is about a rat named Remy who has this acute sense of smell that none of the other rats have. And after seeing Gusteau on the television, as he's been following for years apparently, and also read his book, Anyone Can Cook, he decides that he wants to try and become a chef. Meanwhile, there's this guy named Linguini, voiced by Lou Romano. Sorry, I literally had the cast list pulled up because I looked it up the second I finished watching. And he wants a job. And his mom, who sadly passed away, has sent him to Gusteau's restaurant to get a job as maybe a trash boy. But when Remy ends up meeting him, and after a few bumps in the road, they end up finding out that they work well together, and he starts to learn and get praise for being a master chef, which to the detriment of the main chef. What was his name? Emile, I think? Is that Emile? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Emile. Emile, voiced by Peter Sohn, who then decides to try and get to the bottom of everything that's happening. And then you also have Colette, voiced by Janine Garofalo. I'm sorry if I horribly mispronounced your name. I'm pretty sure it's a very, very French name. And this movie takes place in Paris, so that kind of makes sense. Who is also trying to... She was pretty much the head advisor chef, and then there's the new guy, and she has to find this weird... She has this weird conflict within herself, character-wise, about trying to retain her position, but also ends up falling for this new guy and wants to help him succeed. Like, this movie has a lot of things going into it. Like, the little trailer that premiered at the end of movies like Cars, for example, because this was their big follow-up after Cars, which I really enjoy. I really like Cars, but I can see why most people don't like it as much and consider it one of Pixar's biggest first misses. But I really like Ratatouille. This is a great film, and it does a great job with its characters, the animation. I mean, it's Pixar. What do you expect? Of course the animation is going to be top-notch. Pixar is like the best animation company in the world. Well, next to Funimation, of course. And they did a great job with the characters here, and no voice actor here feels tossed off. Like, even the little roles that are given to actors like Will Arnett, who plays Horst, or the one little cameo we get from the film's director, Brad Bird. Yes, that Brad Bird. This is from the same guy that brought us The Incredibles, and this came out 3 years later. And while I still think Incredibles is better, that's mainly because of my own bias, because I'm a superhero guy. I love that kind of stuff, and not to mention... No, I'll save it for another review. Point is, Ratatouille is a great movie. A legit great movie, and I can finally see why people have been praising it so much over the years. It's funny, it's emotional, it has great characters, it has great animation, and none of my time felt wasted. Now, granted, it's not a perfect movie. There's a few little things I can complain about, which I'm going to. But I don't want to sound too much like Ego, the critic in the actual movie, voiced by Peter O'Toole, who I could have sworn was Patrick Stewart when I first watched it. Like, I heard this voice, I'm like, oh, that's Patrick Stewart. There's no way. Nope, it was Peter O'Toole. Apparently doing a very good Patrick Stewart impression. Like, it fooled me. It fooled a 21-year-old man. I'm sorry, I'm dumb. But this really is a great film. Now, what exactly do I have to complain about with this movie? Not really complain about, they're just itty-bitty little nitpicks. I do think that there's one too many climaxes in that third act. Like, it seems like everything's wrapping up, and then another roadblock gets thrown in there just to be resolved a few minutes later. Like, it definitely felt like the pace was broken up a bit in the third act, and it definitely feels like a few moments in, like, the second act leading up to the third act did drag just a little bit, but that's really my only complaints. This is a legit great movie, and yeah, I definitely think it's a great movie to watch on Thanksgiving, because, again, Thanksgiving is a holiday where we celebrate food, on top of being thankful for what we have, and the people that we have. You know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. Ratatouille is a fantastic film. I'm giving this movie a final verdict of a high 9 out of 10. If it weren't for some little pacing problems towards the end, this would be a 10. It was very close, and it's definitely up there with some of the best of Pixar. Now, granted, I don't think it's better than Finding Nemo, Incredibles, or Monsters, Inc. Like, it's nowhere near that level. But I can definitely say that after seeing some of the stuff they've released in recent years, aside from Luca was great, it's refreshing, to say the least. This movie is an exquisite pairing of emotion and laughs that the whole family is going to enjoy. And especially if you're someone that loves to cook, you are going to have a great time with this film. Especially if if you're someone who loves to cook, or you just love food in general, you're going to love this movie. But even if you're not into that, you're still going to love this movie, because it still has everything that you love about Pixar. That top-tier writing that doesn't feel tossed off. Celebrity voices that actually try and do a great job. Memorable characters that become some of the best in the entire company's catalog. A great story that, while it's something we have heard before, the outsider becoming the big shot through trial and tribulation, it still works. seriously, whether you are into food or not, you're going to enjoy this movie. And I can definitely, again, I can see why this was counted as a Thanksgiving movie. It has that charm about it that really fits the holiday. It's not a Thanksgiving movie like in universe, but it counts. I can see why it counts, and I'm probably definitely going to start watching it every Thanksgiving from now on. Well, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And now I gotta go do a very not fun review on my other channel. So I'll see you guys tomorrow when we talk about our Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, another bona fide animation classic. So, until then, thanks for watching. I'm Jack Small of Animation Station. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.